Hello, in this video I'm going to be sharing with you 5 things we can learn from top artists like Burna Boy, Tems and Omah Lay right after this intro. Hello there. On this channel, I do helpful tutorial for Afrobeat artists and producers. So if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing. Okay, on to the topic for today. Before I go any further, I will not be including Wizkid and Davido in this conversation because in my own opinion, these guys were like the pioneers of the sound. They didn't really have like any real competition by the time they started. So they kind of defined a lot of things for Afrobeat. So it's kind of like if you are Coke, you are the first person in the game. You didn't have somebody else to compete with. If you are in Nigeria like MTN, you are like the first prominent network. So you didn't have any real competition to deal with. And I don't think that really lends a lot of lessons for an upcoming artist in 2022 who is trying to break into the market and missed a lot of challenges. So I'm not saying that they are not good artists or that there isn't anything we can learn from, but I just feel that the artists I'm highlighting, which is Burna Boy, Omah Lay and Tems, are a way better people to look at if you want to learn something from top artists running things today. Number 1, it's very, very important to be unique and different and stand out in an industry like the Nigerian music industry, the Afrobeat industry today. Why is this so important? Copying isn't really a good way to go because nobody wants secondhand. Nobody wants a look-alike. Okay, many artists somehow feel that, especially up and coming artists feel that if I look like Davido, I sing like Davido, use beats like Davido, dress like Davido, I'll become like Davido. And nothing could be further away from the truth, because many times when someone sees you, they know, they can tell that you're copying so and so artist, or oh, this person sounds like Wizkid, or oh, this person sounds like Davido, or this person is trying to sound like that. And most likely, if that person is a fan of Davido, you're not bringing anything new to the table. So why should he settle for the inferior when there's the original? So you get the point. So it's super important to be different. These 3 artists I've highlighted, Burna Boy, Tems and Omah Lay, these people all came to the Afrobeat scene with something new. Granted, all of them didn't really start out with a buzz or with a big bang and all of that, but they all brought something that was fresh and new, and slowly but surely have become global successes. So it's definitely important to stand out. Number 2, it's very important to learn how to sing without auto-tune, without studio processing. Okay, now in Afrobeats, in hip-hop, it's kind of become the norm that you sing through processing and then you always get your sound from the studio. Obviously, if you're working with a good producer or engineer like myself, we can definitely make people who weren't having their best singing day or aren't really 100% all the way there, we can make you sound pro. That's a given. And being able to do singing in the studio and create music in studio is definitely an art form that is different from singing live. But the truth is, in today's Afrobeat scene, it's super important to be able to sing and sound good without autotune, because you are definitely going to at some point have to do that. Whether you're invited for a live show, you're invited for someone's birthday party, or if you start to blow up the way Burna Boy was in 2019, when you start getting called for primarily live type concert things like My Tiny Desk concert by NPR Music and the rest. You don't want to wait until you're at that point before you can actually sing. And of course, your ability to sing well and sound like yourself is actually going to help you with point number 1, which is sounding different and sounding unique. Because here's the thing, everybody has a unique talking voice. If you have a unique talking voice, in truth, you have a unique singing voice. It's just that many people try to sing like other people, so it kind of sounds like you're not that unique. So if you are having that issue, chances are that maybe you've been listening too much to your favorite artist and you've been emulating too much of that. You may need to work with a vocal coach to help you rediscover your real voice. But it's really, really important that you learn how to sing well and sound good even without auto-tune. Point number 3, it's very important to stay consistent. And this is consistent with being unique and consistent with putting out music, consistent with being consistent with releasing songs and all of that good stuff. It's 2022. You cannot be putting out 1 song in a year or 3 songs in a year. If you can, which is a reason, this all ties into a reason why you should have like a home studio if you don't have the budget to keep recording at a different studio or paying to do your job. You should be able to record your vocals at home so that you can put out more content. At the very least, it's a good idea to shoot for putting out 1 song every month. 1 song every month, which means you put out the song, you have the whole month to promote it and push it before you move to the next song. It's like the very bare minimum you want to be doing. And you also have to be ready to run a marathon in the music industry rather than a sprint. Because if you're expecting that, if I do this in 1 year, I should become the biggest artist, so I should start having all the crazy buzz. Or, if I do this in 2 years, in 3 years. For many artists, they stay on the grind for 5 years, 10 years before we even start to discover who they were. Burna Boy, for example, has been around for a long time before his hit song Yeah and that album that got him his Grammy nomination and all of that good stuff. He's been around doing a lot of things. In fact, there was even a time he was even doing hip-hop as his primary style of music before he started incorporating bits of Afrobeat and all of that. And he even had some buzz as far back as, I think, 2015, 2013. Around there, he had a relatively good hit, Like to Party. Like to Party was a success, but he didn't immediately show up after that. There was still a lot of grind that went on before his current successes. Same thing with Tems. The first time I heard Tems sing was in the song, I think it was Try Me or so. It's not even Afrobeat to say. It had a beautiful music video, had good visuals. I felt her singing. I didn't even know at the time that she was Nigerian. But this is way back, and she kept at it, doing her thing. And then now there's so much buzz around that. So it's important to understand that it really takes time to build momentum. So don't give up. Keep on the grind. And by God's grace, you get to your place of honor, of shine, and everybody will be able to also talk about you the way I'm talking about you today. Number 4, please get yourself a home recording studio. Hopefully, by this time, I should have released a video that kind of shed some light on how you do this. If it's not yet out, it will be coming out soon. If it's out, I'll link it in the description below. It's very important to get yourself a recording setup. Even if you have like a big studio where with better equipment and all where you can get to record, because this will help you with putting in the work, practicing more, because the more you do it, the better you understand what's good about your talent, because it's a lot easier and risk-free. If you have a studio at home, you can do your recording and then easily just do an export, send to your friends and other people to get feedback while you grow. And then, of course, if you're working with a producer, say in a different country or not in the same state, it's easy for you to do your recordings at your own time that's convenient to send to your producer. And then, obviously, if maybe there are parts that you need to change, you can always talk to your producer, and then he can, or your producer can give you feedback rather and let you know what you need to change. And that doesn't have to cost you anything extra. You already have your setup at home. You can just get right into it, replace the parts that needs changing, and send that back. It's so much more convenient, and at this point I think it's kind of a given, because if you're doing this seriously, and if you're going to be putting out a song every month, if you calculate how much you would need to spend over recording and how much, especially if you want to be able to practice and hear yourself, all that money combined will be a lot more affordable for you to spend in one lump sum to get yourself a setup at home. And most studio equipment lasts like for an eternity. Like my audio interface, the first one I got, I actually gave it out. It stayed with me for 5 years, and last time I spoke with the person I gave it to recently told me it's still working. So this is like a good investment that will continue to give you return on investment for a long time, except you're ready to upgrade to something better or something like that. But if you want to be able to stand out in this industry and get ahead of the competition, getting yourself a home recording studio is one of the best things you can do for your career. Number 5, it's very, very important that you find a way to motivate yourself and keep yourself going. Okay, if you're a spiritual person, that means your relationship with God is a good part of the equation. Listening to motivational speakers is a good way, or just knowing how to keep yourself staying inspired, staying on your grind and all, because it can get difficult sometimes, especially when you're not seeing results in the beginning. When you put out the content and maybe you only see 2 likes, 3 likes, and then maybe you're even getting some unwarranted criticism or even some constructive criticism. In those early phases, it can be difficult to handle all these things. So you have to go into all of this with the mindset of being able to encourage yourself. It's almost like a skill in of its own self, of learning how to keep yourself encouraged, dealing with all the difficult times, both in your personal life and in your musical journey. It's super, super important. And that's it for this video. I hope these tips have been helpful to you. Please consider subscribing to the channel, and then I have links to free beats and a free PDF that will help you with figuring out your home recording studio setup. Until next time, have a wonderful day.